I think I got tripped up on the word confidence early on in my life. I just felt like it had to look or feel a certain way. And so that would like completely divert me off of what felt really good and true to me. So I just want to emphasize that now, like as we're giving you our tips, it really is about making it personal to you. It doesn't have to look a certain way. Sometimes like in some of my lowest moments, I've been able to foster a sense of confidence because I've faced a low moment, right? Like it doesn't always have to look like sunshine and, a pretty Instagram picture. It's so much more than that. And it's so you.
You're listening to the Almost 30 podcast, hosted by Krista Williams and Lindsey Simcik. Almost 30 started as a conversation about the transition from our 20s to our 30s. But then we realized life is full of transitions. So we expanded our mission.
We are an intuition-led, wellness-focused lifestyle podcast that promises to deliver authentic conversations, diverse points of view, and insights rooted in optimism, growth, and intention. The Almost 30 Nation community is a group of purposeful dreamers who are smart, passionate, and always seeking the full potential in every aspect of their lives.
At Almost 30, we're making magic together. We dream it,
and then we do it.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Almost 30 podcast.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to Almost 30.
Greetings. How are you guys? Hope all is well. Hope you are, it's like when you send an email and you're like, hope this finds you well. It's like,
honestly,
what the hell
hope
is
it's
going
well.
on? Yeah, what's going on here? I doubt that this email is finding me well, but truly, I hope you're navigating this time as gracefully as possible.
Yeah, it's been a weird thing to like act. It's normal to ask people how they are, but I don't want to perpetuate this like feeling of, oh God, it's the end of the world. But I also want to check in with the people, and then I also don't want it to get repetitive. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, we're glad to be with you. And I know things are starting to open up and change and shift. So let us know how it's feeling. Let us know how you're doing. For me, the shift and change back to quote unquote normalcy is interesting. I'm trying to change my mindset away from being fearful of it. When I'm seeing the roads are getting busier, there's just, I can feel the energy of it picking up, but I don't want to be resistant to it. I can't be resistant to every change that ever exists, because that's not the way of the world. But it does give me, kind of makes me wonder about what's going to happen.
Yeah, I almost want to retain, kind of like find confidence in retaining. And we've talked about this, what has worked for us.
Yeah,
because what I'm feeling as things start to pick up slowly but surely is kind of a pressure to keep up with everyone. And during this time, I don't know why it's different, but I'm like, oh, since we're all going through it, there is just less of a pressure to, at least in my experience, compare. But yeah, I feel you.
because people aren't traveling. People aren't like doing as much of that stuff, which is so interesting. And we're kind of like the great equalizer for sure. I feel like it's what things I want to take, I guess, in what we've done is I just want to hang out at home more with Justin. I really love like having nights together, doing nothing. I looked at my credit card balance of like what I will pay on June 1st, and it was like nothing. It was like nothing. I was
so
like,
crazy.
Oh my God, I'm saving so much money. And I know that's a different experience for everyone, but my like frivolous spending is completely gone besides my Postmates. I'm not doing that anymore though.
You're like, I didn't look at that credit card statement.
Yeah, honestly. That's on a different credit card. My Postmates card.
No, but I completely agree. And it just showed me like what I actually need, like just in that spending or in what I involve myself with. Like to your point, I think a few weeks ago, we talked about group exercise and just not needing that as much. Although I love it, I am finding some strange like motivation when I do actually do the workout I say I'm going to do. I do it by myself. And then for the rest of the day, I have that momentum rather than just kind of mindlessly showing up for the group workout, doing it, paying for it, whatever. there is an extra cherry on top when you motivate yourself.
I just don't need as much of the workouts. It's like, my body hasn't really changed. I'm like, dude, I haven't done anything in 2 months. And it's like, this is where we're at. It's like, what was I doing for so many years?
Bicep curls.
And I was doing some strength stuff and I'm like, I'm weak as fuck right now. But I was like, what was I trying to be so strong for? Honestly, I'm like, what was the goal? Like, I didn't even have, why was I don't even know. I'm like, what was the goal?
I got some really heavy weights from my trainer. They're doing some little program. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll do it. So I got 30-pound weights. And what's great about upping your weights is that you got to do less of it.
I mean, I have 8-pound weights and it fucks me up.
Really?
How?
Well, how are you guys feeling out there in terms of your movement, your health? If there's any way we can support you. I don't know if you're in the secret Facebook group, but we have conversations like that in there. We have conversations about mental health, about careers and whatnot. So definitely join the group if you're wanting to talk more.
Yeah. And if you want support in your local community, we have our ambassador program, which has subgroups all over the world, and they meet up digitally right now. And they will be meeting up again in person. So you can find support in your local community for people that are interested in things like what we talk about here.
Totally. And we've been doing Instagram Lives. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it.
You've seen them. We're killing ourselves doing Instagram Lives.
You've seen the 98 Instagram Lives we've done in 2 weeks.
We were talking to this guy on the phone and he was like, you guys are literally live every day. Well, when there's 2 of us, they get double the live. Every time I'm about to do a live, I don't want to do it.
Same.
I don't know what that is.
100%.
You know what pisses me off about lives is when you push live, it's you have to set it up and you have to, it's give me 5 seconds before you actually start recording the live for me to set it up, figure out the lighting, invite the person. It's just you look like an idiot.
Yep. I completely agree. And it takes a second for people to join, but you think people are joining. So you're like, hello.
And then you're like, hello, guys. Hi. As they join, you're like, hi.
Tell me where you're coming from. Canada. Yeah. But it's been fun to kind of see you guys, to see you guys on there and to talk to you and to bring on some people that we really respect and love. And speaking of workouts, we have had workouts on there, continue to feature some of our favorites. And some of those are up on YouTube. So you can check those out.
Yeah. And then we're doing IG Lives. We're saving them. So they're on our Instagram now and you can watch them anytime you want. All the content, all of the time. You can count on it.
One of these days we're just going to go into hibernation and not make a thing.
I know.
And just see how you guys
I was thinking about that.
So you guys can catch up. Oh man. But just to update you, we have our new Paradigm Digital Workshop series that we launched a few weeks ago. And it's been really fun to deep dive with you in an intimate virtual setting. So our intention here is just to support you as you evolve, and especially as you go through something as crazy as what's going on Earth right now. And our next one is with our dear friend, Peta Kelly.
Dude, Peta's so major. There's no one that stands in her power like Peta. There's no one that creates like Peta. And if you guys know her or her work, The Earth is Hiring, and she just put out a new book. I just ordered it. I forget what it's called, but she is the number one inspiration for me. She makes spirituality so human and so light and so truthful, and really just finds the actual nugget of truth within this whole experience that we're in. So I'm so fucking excited. It's on the new Paradigm, and it's going to be incredible. So that is on the 24th of May. Come join. It's going to be super powerful. And then the next weekend, we have one with Alexandra Roxo, Fuck Like a Goddess. I said it. F-U-C-K. Sorry if you're in a car with your kids. It's F***C-K like a goddess. Alexandra Roxo is a empowerment coach. She has the Moon Club. She's an author. She is just an expert in all things divine feminine. And this is going to be super sensual.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's really powerful. I'm sure a lot of you during this time maybe have been visited by your wild side, whether it's, I don't know. breaking the rules or getting out of your routine. I felt a little bit more wild and free at times. And I just love Alexandra because she really brings that out in the people that she works with.
She's iconic.
Iconic. And by the way, Stop Missing at the Point is Peter Kelly's new book.
Yes.
Just look that up. She's incredible.
And then we have one with Natalie Miles. She's an intuitive. That one's coming up. We have Jessica Lanyadoo on astrology, your Saturn return, which was started, this podcast was started during our Saturn return. So it breaks that down. It's one of the most important periods in your life. And it happens more than once. And then we also have them available. We also have workshops available that we had previously. So Milana Snow, Jenna Zoe, and Natalia Benson. So we have really good ones available you can purchase on shopalmost30.com.
Yep. I'm trying to think of anything else. There's so much. Also on shopalmost30.com. Last thing, we have Inner Peace available, our dream bundle. Krista and I felt it was important to share with you the tips, practices, rituals that really helped us to design our dream day and our dream careers. And a lot of you have asked us questions about that. And it seems so vague and you can't really touch it, but we wanted to be able to provide you kind of a guide so that you can actualize all of the dreams that you have in your head and your heart. And these are the practices and tools that we have used. So that is available at shopalmost30.com, as well as Inner Peace, which is also a guide to help you just maintain inner peace during times of chaos and beyond.
Yeah. Our little intern Lex was like, "Can I get a code for Inner Peace?" So fucking cute. She's in college. She's like, "Can I get a code?" I also sent the Dream Career, which is a part of, our dream series for Dream Career and Dream Day, to someone that's very close to me because we were talking about career stuff. And I was like, oh, it just needs refinement. You need clarity on what you're looking for. And it was nice to actually really, truly, meaningfully send something to someone that I care about that I felt like needed the guide and the workbook and the meditation and stuff. So I was excited.
Yeah. I think asking the right questions is so important for anything, which I haven't always done. And to get really clear about it is very, very helpful. So all of that available, shopalmost30.com. Cannot wait to connect with you in any which way. And we're excited about today's solo episode with me and Krista.
Yes. Building confidence. I was like, building trust.
Building confidence.
Building confidence and trust. Building confidence. And this one is such a good one. I always love when I hear other people's tips on building confidence. It's so impactful. Confidence for me, from my perspective, it is there, but it also comes and goes, So understanding that there will be periods in time in our life that we feel more confident and we don't, but the goal is always to have more confidence and trust within ourselves. So we're excited. We each have 3 tips that are tried and true from our experiences, from our life, that we're excited to share for our tips for getting more confident in our life.
We've had a lot of people in our community reach out who are entrepreneurs or building their own business on the side and asking a lot of questions, needing support. And we're really, really excited. We are going to be a part of the Power Babe Mastermind hosted by Natalia Benson, our dear friend, and Jenna Black. This is a 6-month intimate experience for conscious business queens ready to rise into their purpose, power, and prosperity. I had a very long, detailed call with these 2 incredible women, and this mastermind is going to be the most supportive, valuable investment you can make as an entrepreneur, especially as a female entrepreneur. This runs from June to November 2020, and this is for you if you're ready to step into your highest earning potential. Build a 6-figure plus business, a conscious empire, level up as a soul leader in the industry. Power Babe Mastermind covers business foundations, wealth consciousness, scaling your empire, and stepping into your highest vision, and so much more. And they have guest experts. So that's where we come in. We're going to be one of the guest experts in the Power Babe Mastermind. And all of these experts are going to be teaching all of you their tips for growing a thriving community online and expanding your team. Just note that the Power Babe Mastermind applications are now open and they close May 25th, 2020. If you're ready to rise in 2020, head to the link in our show notes to submit your application. There are only 50 spots and they are filling fast. I don't know about you, but these days I feel like probiotics are everywhere and it's really confusing.
I'm seeing like probiotic drinks, probiotic foods, even probiotic tortilla chips. And I'm like, okay, got it. Like, can we not? It's actually crazy. The truth is, most of this is nothing more than a marketing explosion with very questionable results. And this is why Seed has entered the world. So in love with Seed. They are reclaiming probiotics for science. So what are probiotics? A lot of us don't even know. We just buy things that say probiotic. They're bacteria strains that when administered to the body have a studied result on your health. Yeah, scientifically and clinically studied. And Seed's first probiotic for humans in its daily synbiotic is incredible. It's a formulation of 24 unique probiotic strains in one dose. And these strains have been clinically studied in 16 strain-specific, double-blind, placebo-controlled, and published human studies, as well as 13 in vitro, ex vivo, mechanistic studies. Y'all, this is science. There's no other probiotic in the world with this much clearly referenced science behind the formulation. I mean, that's enough for me to be like, yep, done. You are my probiotic. And these strains in the daily synbiotic have been studied to improve your gut health rather immediately. And I experienced this. I was having like just some interesting digestive symptoms. I felt like my food was kind of running through me. Had like just cramping. It was weird. These benefits can be things like maintaining regularity, which it helped with, easing bloating and alleviating occasional constipation. And they also can have a powerful effect across the entire body. So well beyond your digestive tract. It can affect your heart health, skin health, gut immune function, and so much more. I'm really excited for you to try Seed. You can go to seed.com/almost30 or use the code almost30 at checkout for 20% off your first month of the Daily Synbiotic. This is a subscription and it is well worth it. And all their packaging is recyclable. They're eco-friendly. They know what they're doing. Seed.com, SEED.com/almost30 or use the code almost30 at checkout for 20% off your first month of the Daily Synbiotic. Yeah, I think I got tripped up on the word confidence early on in my life. I just felt like it had to look or feel a certain way. And so that would like completely divert me off of what felt really good and true to me. So I just want to emphasize that now, like as we're giving you our tips, it really is about making it personal to you. It doesn't have to look a certain way. Sometimes like in some of my lowest moments, I've been able to foster a sense of confidence because I've faced a low moment, right? Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't always have to look like sunshine and, a pretty Instagram picture. It's so much more than that. And it's so you. So just want to say that.
Yeah. And in that, I'll do my first one because it reminds me of that. But first, so whenever I do things where we write these down and I'm in these coaching groups where we're talking a lot about words. So I looked up the word trust, what it means. And in Latin, it means full trust. So confidence means full trust in Latin. And when we look up the dictionary definition, it's firm trust, which is interesting because if we think about confidence being firm trust, it's not complete. So it's interesting that it wouldn't be complete trust. And I thought that was really poignant because that just spoke to me that confidence is something that never feels complete. No one, even at their highest level, we've interviewed some incredible people on the podcast, some of the best and biggest in the game, thank goodness. And most thanks to you. But they even have their moments. They're not as confident as you would think. They don't think they have it all together. They're not where they want to be. And so it really is something that is something you work to get close to. And again, it can come and go, but there never is a full, complete confidence. Yeah. And so your point on the low point is really my first one. And my first point on confidence is doing hard things. So within our lives, I've built the most confidence by doing the thing that wasn't popular, didn't make sense, that was the hard thing. And this choice and this decision, although at the time felt very shaky and felt very unsure, was something that told me, myself, my soul, my source, my spirit, that I was worth more than like anyone else's opinions and helped me build confidence in myself. So doing hard things like when I moved to Chicago after college and I got my first job, or when I left a toxic environment at my first job, or when I went to Patagonia for a month and didn't have contact with anyone. And during my first month in Patagonia was when Justin and I had first started talking. So it was a huge risk for me to like put this relationship that just started on ice and not have any contact for a month. When I moved to New York for Justin, when we had just started dating, barely, that's a huge like risk. So or even starting almost 30, putting ourselves out there. There's just a lot of points in my life where I've done the hard thing that have made me feel more confident in myself. And it's really the hard parts of our life where I felt maybe the most lost and the most confused that have allowed me to build this sense and this foundation of like truth within me. And within doing the hard things, I think it's really important. And this is like a tactical thing, but to monitor your progress. So whether that's journaling or whether that's a planner, I think it's really important that we monitor the progress of our steps against our goals. So if you do have a goal to do a hard thing, it's easy to get tripped up and kind of lose yourself within the process. But the small changes in the goals that bring you to the hard thing incrementally are the realistic points that give you the confidence overall. So I think within doing hard things, you can look at, my examples of like quit your job, whatever, and that can actually be too much. But in order to build up your confidence to get to that point to do the hard thing, you can do smaller things. So I think monitoring your progress, do the hard things, and make small changes and small goals along the way that you can monitor to build up the confidence to even do the hard thing. That's really going to get you a lot of confidence.
I love that one. Yeah, I mean that quote, beauty in the breakdown, baby. I do think
I have that tattooed on my face.
But it is. And I think, we forget that when we try to avoid those moments of just like insecurity or, when we're like floating in the unknown and we're so fearful or have so much doubt, there is so much opportunity to realize who you really are.
Yeah.
It's such a confidence building.
And I will say like within the moments that have been my hard things moments, it's been mostly severe discomfort that led me to do the hard thing. So it wasn't like, I'm in love, I want to move to New York. It was like, I actually feel like I'm done growing in Chicago and I'm really unhappy in my environment, but I'm really happy in this environment. So this part is scary to leave Chicago, but this love is worth the risk. Or quitting my job, it's like, I was so miserable that I got to this point where I was in this toxic environment, et cetera. So it's like every hard thing isn't like, okay, let's do the hard thing today. This is going to be fun. And we're going to build up to the hard thing. It's like, oftentimes it's really the lowest points when you really have to rely on just you to make the right decision for yourself.
Yeah. Definitely, I relate to that. My first one is finding the space and the quiet to remember my own thoughts and who I am. I'm someone who can take on other people's thoughts and confuse them for my own. So I'm really working on that. And that the solution to that has been to just literally find peace and quiet. So that's usually at night before or after an entire day of working and doing the things, quiet room, or if we're in the sauna, or even just in the bathroom, in the shower, and connecting to what feels like that force greater than me. So whether it's through meditation, I've really enjoyed channeled writing. So it's asking a question, writing that question down. So, that question could be like, who am I? Quite literally like, who am I? And just allowing pen to paper to allow like source to come through. And anyone can do this. I've talked about this on the podcast before, but it's been so powerful because on the other side of it, I'm like, oh, right. Like, I don't have to shoulder all of this by myself. Like, I am so not alone. And that just gives me more confidence, almost as if I'm looking behind me and I have that like that spiritual team of like, got it,
Yep.
So that's a great way to remind me of that. And then I also have been doing mirror exercises. So that could look like just looking at myself in the mirror, like looking at my own eyes and just seeing myself. I think we can go throughout our day and not see ourselves. We can see ourselves through the eyes of other people, but it's been really powerful, even for just 60 seconds, to look at myself in the mirror and be like, hi.
I literally never look at myself. People are like, you have food all over your face. I'm like, what? Honestly, I'm like, what are you talking about?
But it's also just weird. You know what I mean? It's a weird feeling. But
Justin looks at himself all the time. I'm like, what are you doing?
He's like, just checking in.
I know, honestly.
But it can be kind of emotional. For some reason, you just kind of like see yourself as you really are. And every once in a while, I'll sprinkle in an affirmation that feels good. Like, you know, whatever it feels good that day, or even just like, and I got you. Like, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes we can forget to support ourselves. We look for the support from other people. Like, why aren't they supporting me? Why aren't they validating me? Da, da, da. But it's like reminding yourself in that moment in the mirror that like, I got you.
Yeah.
And that's really
huge.
Enough. And also in the quiet space. So whether it's the channeled writing, the mirror exercises, I also just find like allowing myself to freely create gives me the confidence to just be myself. So it's like reminding me like, oh my God, like drawing a weird picture feels like me. Cool.
Yes.
Like, you know, it's just reconnecting to those parts of you, activating them on a daily or weekly basis. That just reminds you of that part of you. We're so dynamic. There are so many parts of us. Maybe you like to garden, or maybe you love baking, or maybe you love cleaning your bathroom. Like just connecting
Come
with
to
that,
my house.
connecting to that part of you in the quiet and just kind of being with that activity and allowing yourself to just fully express in that. It's, for me, it's like stoking those like embers of myself. I'm like, oh, okay, there she is. There's that part of you. Okay. Because I think we can become so defined by our job, or maybe our role as a mother or a father, whatever it is, that we forget the other parts of ourselves that really could add to our confidence.
Yeah. In my book, it's Creating, Not Reacting Causes Happiness. And I was thinking about that so much with work. You know, it's like creation is what makes people happy, not just reacting to others. And I was thinking about too, in the mirror thing, I was talking to Natalia Benson the other weekend, and she had something happen where she had to really call upon her confidence with herself and her decisions. And she said that she did look in the mirror and she's like, you know what, baby, I got your back. You know, she says, baby. She's like, babe. She's like, you know, baby, I got your back. Like, and no matter what happens, like, I'm going to be there for you. And just like said that to herself in the mirror repeatedly, because she felt, you know, just a little bit shaken by what had been going on. And it was really powerful. And I love the point too about no control, like giving off control to the universe. Cause I was thinking about that recently, like with just anything. And it's like so funny that we think we have control over anything. And just kind of surrendering to that and almost just being like, I actually literally have no control over anything. Yeah. As much as we truly think that we do, and I am the deepest person thinking I do, we cannot control so much of life. And it's like surrendering to that is the hardest thing.
Totally.
But like the goal. Okay. Number two for me is questioning your critic. So questioning your inner critic. And that means, and I really believe that mindfulness and the ability to question your critic, or even realize you have a critic and that the critic is not you, happens through mindfulness, happens through meditation. So my ability to separate who I am from the person that has the stories about my body or my worthiness or my, you know, X, Y, and Z is actually not me. That's part of my programming that I received from birth. And that's part of my story, in quotes, that I live and work with. So my ability to separate myself, you know, and then question that critic, like, oh, so where's that thought about me having to do all the things to be worthy of success coming from? Where's that thought about, oh, because I'm not at the weight that I want to be, that I won't be as successful as I want to be? You know, instead of just thinking in my head, like, oh, I'm actually not where I want to be physically. So, you know, there's no way that I won't be successful. It's like every time we have those feelings and thoughts that we really have to pay attention to. And that is really the work, you know, to find our center enough to notice when we're thinking those things and just kind of stopping yourself in your tracks with a breath or with a moment and being able to be like, wait. Okay. So what is that thought? Like, what is that critic? What is that judgment that I have? And how can I separate myself from that? How can I work with that? How can I heal that? How can I talk through that? How can I take that to therapy? And all of those parts that are your inner critic are really what keep you from being as confident as you want to be. So the more you're able to question your critics, integrate the feedback, you know, after healing, or, you know, love even that side of you, the better you're able to show up as a confident person in the world. So the questioning of your critic will help you in every single part of your life, but I think mostly with your confidence.
I love that one. And it's just kind of showing up for yourself as the friend, like kind of you are your own friend, and just being able to be like picturing someone else being like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, don't talk about my friend like that. Let's like actually find the truth in this.
Yep.
I've been thinking about that lately where it's hard right now with all of us not being able to really see our friends like we normally would. And so it's really called on me to be like, kind of stand up for myself in those moments where that inner critic comes in. But I love that one. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
My next one is like more on the like the physical side. Embodiment practices have been really important, and it changes all the time. So that for me might look like, being in my underwear and dancing in my room, or being in like the shower and just like appreciating my body. Like I think often about, and we've talked about this on the pod where, when I was 16, I was like, ew, like my thighs and this, just like thinking about how my body has changed, how much it does for me on a daily basis, and how I really appreciate exactly what it is right now. And we all have our own like body journey, but I just think that I think all the time about how our bodies are listening to us on a cellular level. So it's really important that, even though I might have moments where I'm like, ooh, that I balance it and even go farther in the other direction where I'm just like, okay, I had a weak moment, but like, I really do appreciate you. And like, and being able to physicalize that celebration and not just like stare at myself. It's more just like, I'm going to celebrate you by moving and like giving you energy and blood flow and, have you listen to music and let that like vibrate throughout like my skin and my cells. So it's kind of treating the body as like this entity that I honor on a regular basis. And like the last part of that embodiment practice that's been helpful is to curate my feed so that my feed on Instagram, even brands that I'm looking at, I just love to see like all bodies, because when people are confident in their bodies, I'm like, oh my God, okay, so I can celebrate my body.
Right.
And that's not to say that like, I look at my body and I'm like, ew, it's just, I love seeing people celebrate themselves. And I'm like, oh, that's giving me more permission to celebrate myself. So I'm careful about that, because I notice that I don't feel good if I'm looking at, trying to think of a brand, but I don't even want to shit talk on here. You know what I'm talking about. If you're on Instagram and you're like, is it possible to have a
Nova
like a 20-inch waist? Is that possible? With a 40-inch bum?
I love how they airbrush their vaginas. It's like they don't even have a
holy moly. Yeah, it's just I notice how I feel, and even if it's just like a little thought, it's not. It can definitely fester. So I'm careful to curate that.
I wanted to tell you about the newest elixir I'm making before my workout. So I'll make this about 45 minutes before a workout. I mix my coffee flavored MCT oil powder in with hot water, and it's so delicious. It's very, very simple. Sometimes I'll add like a tiny bit of nut milk, but this is so delicious. And if you didn't know, MCTs basically are what your body breaks fat down into for usable energy. And your brain, I don't know if you know this, uses about 20% of your total daily energy expenditure. Fascinating. So we got to make sure this is on point. MCT oil is also really great for mental focus, mental clarity, accessing really clean burning, constant sources of energy instead of peaks and valleys that you get with glucose. I don't know if you like eat something sugary and then you're like, I have a lot of energy. And then like an hour later, you don't. Yeah. So this is a very, very clean, constant source of energy. And this really helps me with, it boosts my energy for exercise. It'll increase my satiety so I'm not feeling really hungry. I just love this MCT oil powder. It's also really, really clean, doesn't contain any soy, dairy, gluten, artificial sweeteners, or anything that doesn't directly improve your health. So you can add it to your coffee or your smoothie, anything you want. In my case, just plain water. And it's delicious. Perfect Keto also has other products that I am in love with. I use the keto collagen, the keto bars, the keto cookies. You got to check it out. perfectketo.com/almost30. And then use the code almost30 for 20% off everything plus free shipping. So that's perfectketo.com/almost30. Use the code almost30 at checkout for 20% off everything plus free shipping. I know I talk about sleep a lot, but for good reason. I've been getting really, really great sleep lately, and I think it's helped. It's helped everything, to be honest. And I've created a sanctuary, and I got to talk about my mattress and my mattress topper and my pillows that are bringing me a lot of joy. And I just trust this brand a ton. Birch Living. Birch Living creates organic mattresses, mattress topper, organic pillows, so that you can have a restful night's sleep. It's eco-conscious. And the more I know about what materials are being used to make things that I am using every single day, man, oh man, I got to make sure these materials are good for me and good for the earth. So I want to talk about the mattress. The mattress is incredible. It is so comfortable. It's a hybrid mattress with springs and foam, really high quality springs. And it's one of those things where like it has that memory foam where it molds to my body, but it's not too much where I'm sinking into it. It's really great. Non-toxic, organic, natural. The cotton is from the US. The wool that they use is from sheep in New Zealand. They shear it right off. And all their materials are fair trade certified. They have all sorts of certifications. Just look at the website. It's incredible. And I also highly recommend their mattress topper. So that is one that I just put on my mattress. I've always used a mattress topper. It makes me just, get that little extra cush. It's plush organic, and it has that organic cotton, organic wool, natural latex, and it's handmade in the US. They have a no contact delivery option, which is awesome. And it ships within 5 to 10 business days. So I'd love for you to check out Birch Living, birchliving.com/almost30 for $200 off your mattress. Check it out. Truly, this is the time I've been doing kind of an audit on the things in my home and how I can make them cleaner, more sustainable. So if you are looking for a new mattress, look no further, birchliving.com/almost30 for $200 off your mattress.
Well, every time you see something, it almost makes you be like, it gives you the question. If you see a girl with a fashion brand on, you're like, you question in your brain, your brain goes, do we want that?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want that? And then it almost just throws you off a little bit. You're like, maybe. Every time you really pull up social media, it's like an opportunity to like have your brain engage in like a conversation that doesn't really move you closer to center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It definitely feeds my...
Do we need that?
My indecisiveness.
Should we buy that beverage? You know what I mean? Should we buy that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Should we write a post like this person? Should we, there's just so much of that.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I think just physicalizing in general and celebrating your own body, easier said than done. However, I think it is a practice. So the more you do it, the less weird you feel. I think there is like a confidence that comes with consistent practice of anything. So being able to do that, giving yourself 15 minutes, 10 minutes to do something that really celebrates your body, even if it's like rolling around on the floor and just like stretching and like, feeling your body. I think it's definitely worth exploring.
Yeah, I love that. And it's interesting, your first two are like related to honoring the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like in the moment of creating, like drawing or doodling, it's like honoring that moment and that need in that moment. And then the movement is like the need in that moment rather than doing something else.
Sure.
Yeah,
we spend so much time, at least for me, I'm like, okay, so how do I get to that place? Or how do I become that type of person? Or just, I'm focused a lot of the time on the gap, on that like void of like, oh, I'm not there yet. So these practices, just being as present as possible reminds me, okay, like I have everything I need in this moment.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Also, too, on the body thing, I saw our chiropractor, Dr. Danny, and it was like my whole left body was fucking whack. So whack. She's like, what is going on? It was like every single part of my left body. And I was just thinking about, so in spirituality, that's related to the feminine, that's related to receiving, and that's related to something about emotions, like unprocessed emotions or something. And I was like thinking, I'm like, oh man, you're just like a victim to this crazy game I play in my mind all day. You know, like you're just listening and you're reacting and you're begging me to like do X, Y, and Z. And you're expressing in this way where my shoulder's all fucked up, my foot's all, you know, it was just like, oh, it's like heartbreaking. I was like, God, thank you so much for just trying your best to make me listen.
Totally. The body tells us so much.
Yeah. All right. 3, 1, 2, 3.
Let's go.
Okay. My last one is related to self-care. And I know that's kind of obnoxious, but I think it's true. And I think the way in which self-care has made me more confident is that it is the I'm worth it thing. And I often think about that related to myself when I do things like, what was I doing the other day? I did something, or I don't know if it was like Saturday. I just had like a lot of little practices that I was doing for myself. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't be doing that because I should be doing this. And I was like, no, you're worth it. Like you're worth it to be taking more time in the morning to like get ready, or you're worth it to be allowing yourself to eat really healthy organic food whenever you want, or you're worth it to have more meditation if you need it. So the self-care also, you know, through things like exercise helps improve your memory, helps you focus, helps to manage stress, helps to balance your blood sugar, helps to prevent depression. So there's so much of the physical experience that we have through self-care that really integrates within our mental and emotional state. That's really important and can't be ignored. So while we're taking care of the physical through things like taking long baths or meditation or going on walks or getting in nature or exercising or eating really well, those things build confidence in us because you are telling yourself you're worth it. You're telling your body you love it. You're telling, you know, your life that you're going to make space for something and you're actually going to follow through with it. And then it again, like has all the benefits of the physical part that really just changes the game, you know, for your entire body.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the important piece of that is the I'm worth it. You know, I think especially with everything that we are responsible for. So I'm speaking to everyone out there, whether you're a mom or you're running a business or whatever you're doing, I think we only give ourselves limited time. You know, we're like, okay, so
story of my life.
This morning I'm going to do the self-care, but I'm only going to do, you know, it's going to be a half an hour. That's all I can get in. And I understand the other obligations, but there is like a sovereignty where you're just like, actually everything is going to benefit from me taking another half an hour, so a full hour for myself and doing exactly what I want to do. And it's hard because like the mind's like, no. And the heart's like, I know I want it. So it is this like inner conversation of like, yeah, no, I'm totally worth it. And actually everyone else is worth it too for me to do this. So yeah, I think that's such a good point.
And that for me is kind of, you know, this is another little bonus one, but boundaries. You know, the creation and establishment of the creation and continued honoring of boundaries in my life has been huge for my confidence, whether it's with my mom or whether it's with old friends or whatever that is. You know, if you create a fucking boundary and you fucking honor it, you feel good. I know. I mean,
Crazy.
It's huge.
So good. Yeah. Yeah. And that also takes practice because the first time it's going to be like,
totally.
But then you come out the other side and you're like, oh my God, I've never met you before. You? Yeah, I love that one. My last one is, I'm calling it the Who I've Become review because I tend to forget that I've come really far. So as present as I can be, sometimes like being so present, I'm like ruminating on what I still need to work on. So while I'm very committed to self-development and that work, I also really need to balance it with, hey, Linz, 5 years ago, you had no sense of self-worth or clarity on your intention for your career, or you had no idea what your purpose was, or you were drinking a ton and really sabotaging every opportunity that came your way, or you're abusing your body, or you were not speaking your truth. And look at you now, like you've made progress in these ways. And it's been helpful for me to actually write them down so I can see them. And it could just be like a little scribble, a little sentence, but it's like, oh, wow, yeah, that actually has really improved. And so it gives me confidence in the moment to know that whatever's coming up for me now, a year from now, I'll probably say like, wow, you've really done it. You've really improved. There will always be the things, but I think it's important that we, honor with like a little graduation of like, yes, you've come really, really far. So you can look at your relationships, you can look at your health, you can look at your spirituality. So just different aspects of your life that you've grown so much and you'll continue to grow, which
huge.
Is so beautiful. So I'll do that on my own, but I also like to invite in like other people. So even if it's just having a conversation one-on-one with a friend, and you can kind of preface it by saying like, hey, listen, I know this sounds weird, but I kind of need it right now. Like, how have you seen me grow over the last few years? And it's not self-indulgent. It's actually really cool for someone who cares about you to reflect that back to you. And I've only done that once with someone, but most of the time it comes unsolicited by the other person when I'm like beating myself up and they're like, wait, you've done this to me, where it's like, hey, like you've grown so much. Like, you know that, right? And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. So you can even ask your friends or family, and maybe you can reflect it back to them. It could be like a fun way to go deep with people you care about. But that has been really, really profound for my confidence.
That's huge. Yeah, I mean, if I said that to like my family,
hey mom,
this is how you've grown, they would literally fall out of their chair.
She's like, well, I know you don't eat meat anymore.
Honestly, she would truly say that.
No, I'm sure they would.
My dad would be like, well, you've got that blog. Honestly, but yeah, I love that. I actually, in my newsletter Monday, I had that as the subject, is like, what would your younger self say about you now?
Oh, I love that.
In my newsletter, I send just like weekly questions. And I did love that question because it is like, we're so hard on ourselves now. But like as a little girl, if you knew that you grew up to be X, Y, and Z, or like had this type of relationship, or had this type of job, or had this type of interest, or, whatever, you'd be like, oh my God.
Totally.
What the hell?
Totally. That's a good one.
And if you don't feel that way, if you feel like she would be let down by you, then it's like a values check,
Definitely.
Also, like what kind of expectations did you have as like a little girl?
She's like taking out her notebook. She's like,
yeah, honestly. She's like, we were going to be in the ballet.
I thought that for a day. Dreams crushed. Well, did you go for your third one? Oh yeah, you went first. I'm sorry.
So to recap, mine was do hard things, question your inner critic, and then self-care.
Awesome. And mine was finding the space and quiet to really remember who you are and what your own thoughts are through channeled writing, mirror exercises, etc. And then embodiment practices. So really just getting in your body, feeling that confidence, reminding yourself that this body is really incredible. And lastly, the Who I've Become review. So you can do that between you and just reflect on how far you've come, or you can invite friends or family to help reflect back to you how far you've come.
Love it. And you guys can join the secret Facebook group. We're talking about these things all the time. Come join us in chats. Follow us on Instagram at Almost 30 Podcast. We are doing lives all the time. Like we said, we have tons of our quotes from episodes. We highlight our community. We have sponsor codes. And on that point on our website, we have tons of amazing sponsors that we work with. So if you want codes from brands like Athletic Greens, Sakara, Go Macro, Buffy,
we got we cover every
Birch Benders,
every vertical. Yeah, there's food, there's like healthy food, snacks for your home. We're really obsessed with just making sure our home is like super clean and safe and fashionable and, stylish and chic. We have Paragon vitamins.
Yeah,
which is one of our favorites. Article. Yeah. So you can find that on our website. And just so you know, we are beginning to video record our intros. So you can find them on YouTube. You can get you're just a little fly on the wall.
Yes.
Peeking into the recording process. It's been on our list to do. So we are doing that now and excited to connect with you on YouTube as well.
Yep. And all news is in our newsletter. So subscribe to the newsletter on our website or on Almost 30 Podcasts on Instagram. And we'll see you next time.
See y'all.
We love ya.